Um, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala barakatuh. Um, Viewers, once again, thank you very much for joining us on our weekly Friday show, hashtag Know Your Gambian Football. In today's show, we have a very important guest. I'm going to a little bit, I'm not going to put on him in a minute. If you're following us, watching us, and hearing loud and clear, can you just give us a thumb up on the comment section that we can get started? Just to say thank you to everyone for following this show. It's a fun TV show. That's why we discuss theater share thoughts and to make sure we talk Gambian football 100%. Ras, thank you very much. First of all, I'm going to introduce my guest, and I would give him an opportunity to introduce himself and to Ghanaians both home and abroad.
Hello, Sana. How are you? Hello, Gambians all over the world. It's a pleasure to talk to you. I guess everyone know me already 5 years. I'm proudly the national team coach of the Scorpions. Looking forward to this talk show.
Thank you very much, Coach. And this is Coach Tom Saintfiet, the national team head coach. First of all, thanks for honoring this invitation. It's with a great pleasure. I'm so, the people that follow this platform have been looking forward to this. I've been having feedback. Hey, when are you going to invite the coach again? Because it's been a minute since you last show up on this show, and we really appreciate the time that you created for us to make sure we discuss Gambian football. Basically, my co-host always, Mr. Ever Present, Musa Habibi Fall. Welcome to the show.
Welcome, Sana, and welcome, Coach.
Hi, Musa.
Welcome on board. And congratulations once again.
Thank you. You too.
Yeah. Thank you very much, guys. So today's show, you got to give us you got to forgive us because Coach cannot speak Wolof or Mandinka, and we try to share this with the local dialect as well. But probably what we will do is we will have to talk to the people back home so they can look for someone who can teach Coach Wolof or Mandinka. In that way, we can continue having conversations in our local dialect. But it's great to have. It's great to have you here, Coach. First of all, congratulations to you, to the technical team, to your backroom staff. It's been a journey, from the last AFCON, came back again, same mission again to requalify, to take Gambia to for the second AFCON back to back, and it was challenging. Started with the preliminary rounds. From there on, set up everything. But I would say, congratulations to you first of all, with your technical team. I know it's not an easy job, especially coaching Gambia. It's really, really challenging. We're gonna say congratulations to you, your technical team, for putting up a good job, and also congratulations to all the Gambian players, who've ever participated in the just concluded qualifiers, for booking another ticket to Ivory Coast and to continue writing history.
Thank you very much. First of all, congratulations to you all because this is a qualification for all Gambians, for everyone in Gambia and outside the Gambia. We are one team and everyone contribute on this success. Like you said, it was not easy. I mean, the first time was a big surprise. The second time, the expectations are quite high. And don't forget, we had to play 8 games, still pre-qualification, tough games against Chad. And all of these 8 games were played in 8 different cities, in 8 different stadiums. So we never had a home game. We never got used to hotels or circumstances, training grounds. And all did play the role, and naturally also some tough opposition. But getting 10 points in the group, I think we can be proud of it. It was not easy, and for sure the last game, there was a lot of sweat. But on the end, we can be very proud that we did it as a team. Players are most important in that. They did a great job. and everyone in the staff, in the federation, government, and also journalists and the fans home, all are part of this success.
Thank you very much. We're gonna center our today's show discussion with three thematic areas. First of all, that's the qualifiers. The qualification period. We all know that's one area. We all know there are a lot of challenges in terms of traveling in and out of Africa. So we're gonna touch a little bit of that. I'm sure at one point we will need to have the team manager of the national team who is responsible basically on working out a lot of modalities to make sure that everything is in place. We're gonna get him one time to discuss on that. But as a coach, what are some of the challenges that you face in terms of traveling, getting your players on time, and all that good stuff? And the last but not the least, that's the AFCON preparation. Of course, we're gonna talk about that very much important game that we just played last weekend, and we're gonna talk about a little bit of that. But we will talk about the preparation for the AFCON. Luckily for this time, experience. Nobody's gonna talk about experience. We've been there. We feel it. We know it. So we're going back. So we know the challenges we had last year. Probably we can definitely work on those specific areas. In saying so, we're gonna go back to Chad around sometime in March in 2022 when we played in the preliminary rounds. I know it was kind of difficult for Gambians to understand because we just from the AFCON and we finished the best 8 team in AFCON, and we had to go through the preliminary rounds, which was a little bit confusing. But people in football knows everything has to be done through the rankings and the CAF rankings and stuff. Difficult game, dangerous game. I was quoted saying that was one of the most dangerous game we had, playing with Chad, knowing that they are the underdogs simply because we came from AFCON and we were head to head with big teams, and we put up a really, really impressive performance and lost to Cameroon, which was expected as well. So how did you prepare going into that Chad game?
Yeah, first of all, I think it is a little bit unfair that after AFCON we had to play Premier League. We were top 8, even finished 6th in the total ranking. And if you saw that the draw was made before AFCON or before the new ranking was out, otherwise with the new ranking would never have played these games. Also, since 2008, FIFA changed the ranking points. Before 2018, you could easier improve your points. Now it takes very slowly when you win games. When you lose games, you don't move a lot. So we moved in 5 years' time 53 positions. But if it was before 2018, we had moved. I had so much experience with other countries much faster. I think it was unfair and incorrect that we had to play these preliminaries because it's a very nerving game. We knew the game against Djibouti, how difficult we had, and Chad is better than Djibouti. They have professional players abroad. And I was impressed with the organization of Chad. We had to play in Yaoundé. There were a few thousand fans from Chad with flags. We won there 0-1. When I could remember, it was a goal of Steve Trawali. It was a good position. And then we go back home to Agadir. I talk home, but it's never home. And Chad was there, also top professional organized. They had the bus with pictures of their own team on the outside of the bus, big stickers. They had their vans with stickers of their club, of the national team, of the flag, the team. So you saw that Chad was not a small team as what we think, but their federation was really planning to get through the qualification. And they had good players and they were well prepared in it. And yeah, maybe we underestimated that match after the 0-1 in Yaoundé because we struggled 2-1 till the 93 minute, and then a penalty from Hassan Cissé brought us finally back in the qualification. And it would be a big shame if we would not have qualified for the group stage, naturally, of the qualification. But I hope these qualification rounds are done now for the coming 20, 30 years for the Gambia. Because you can only lose these matches against Djibouti, against Chad. They are tough opponents. They have nothing to lose. And we as the Gambia have only to lose in these games. But then we came in the group, I think with Congo, Brazzaville, Mali and South Sudan, an interesting group. Maybe not so tough as the previous group with Gabon, DR Congo,
Angola. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that group was more tough than this one. The only difference is in the previous edition, everyone underestimated us. And don't forget, we played our 3 home games at home. We played against Congo for a full crowd at home. Gabon and Angola was COVID times, but we could play at home. We could stay in our own hotel in Ocean Bay. We could train in the stadium in our own training ground. We could decide what time we train, when the opponent train, our food. We had full control over things. Players could meet their family. We were home, close to everyone. And now this qualification started already problem that we had to play in Senegal. And people think, okay, it's nice for the fans, but Senegal created the problem for us because we played the fourth at home against South Sudan, and the eighth only 4 days later we had to play in Congo Brazzaville. But there was only a flight at night after the match to Casablanca. We arrived early in the morning on the 5th. Then we had to stay the whole day in Casablanca in a hotel close to the airport and have a night flight again from Casablanca to Congo Brazzaville. And we arrived Monday the 6th in Congo Brazzaville early in the morning. That meant 2 nights we didn't sleep. We slept only in the hotel, in the plane, and we didn't sleep in the hotel. So we arrived. We left Saturday Senegal, and we arrived on Monday morning with 2 night flights Brazzaville. And only 2 days later we had the game already. And when people said, "Oh, the team is not fit," we had Yusuf Bob, we had Ibrahima Darbu, and these kind of players in the midfield. It was pure lack of rest. We had no rest moments. We were traveling. I requested to change the dates to more time between it, because if between the games was 4, 5, 6 days between, we could recover from traveling and not sleeping. And I think we made it ourselves difficult, because I don't say we deserved a win in Congo, but 0-0 draw was possible till the 74th minute. And imagine we had draw there, then we were not even, then the last game was already done, because Congo had 2 points less and we had 1 point more, and the qualification was already done before the first match. There are small details. Sometimes the inside world, the people, I don't talk too much during qualification about it, but it has influence naturally on the results. And I think the fact that in national team matches you have 2-3 days training time before a match, for sure. If you have 2 games in a week or in 10 days, you have a lot of travel distance to do. Players have to come from everywhere, flying Monday, Tuesday, sometimes Wednesday or Thursday already match. It's quite complex to get it organized and to train. And
right,
in Senegal, yeah.
yeah, that's really interesting, and it's good to hear from you your own perspective regarding to the preliminary rounds. I mean, if you have questions in between these, I mean, you can you
Yeah,
can just
I
wait
think
to come, because yeah.
once again, I have to say a big congratulations to Trump. We have come a long way, and then our country is in the news for the right reasons. I think every Gambian home and abroad is jubilating. Doesn't matter where you are. So we are saying once again a big congrats to him and the players and everybody involved in this difficult and tiring journey. But at least now we are where we expect the Gambia to be. We have been in AFCON for the first time, and now it's becoming a norm. So Alhamdulillah, we are all happy, and then we wishing them all the best. Coach, I know it's always difficult to prepare qualify round games. So after seeing the draw for the AFCON qualifiers, normally most of the coaches will have a target of how much points you need, to be in the AFCON. So from your own perspective, what was in your mind the moment you saw that we are with Mali, African giants and the rest? What was your target? Like, I have to get this kind of points, or I have to win this amount of game, or I have to collect this amount of points to be back to the AFCON.
Yeah, good question. Because you saw Tanzania qualified with only 8 points. We could have 9 points and not be qualified if we had lost against Congo or Brazzaville. My idea was 10 points would have been enough, because we qualified in the first time also with 10 points. Then even we won the group in front of Gabon. I thought if we have 10 points, we will be number 1 or number 2. Now there was a very strong Mali who only lost against us, who got 15 points out of 6 matches. So 10 points was the target.
10 points. That's perfect. So going into this last game, we all knew what happened in.
I'll have to close you a little bit because I want us to continue during the qualifying period, because it's an opportunity for me.
I'm still there.
Tom as well, just to clear up certain things. We're coaches, and then sometimes people have different versions. They see things differently. But I know every game we prepare differently. Every country needs, and every game has a specific way of preparing. So it depends on the opponent that you play, that you're going to prepare your games with. So we will come to that last game, that crazy moment of that last game.
Then I have to go back to the South Sudan game during the first leg. I was in chess. I watched the game live.
Exactly.
Okay. We saw James Norris playing as a right back on that game, and it wasn't his best game. We played a fantastic first half. We were dominant. We controlled the game. They were trying to hold on for a halftime nil scoreline, but luckily, with that fantastic pass from Musa, we were able to score and expose them. So what happened in the second half? Because during the second half, they were more of a threat to us. They attacked more, and then we were finding it difficult to replicate the play we were doing in the first half. I don't know, was it because of the tactic or they just come on us?
First of all, at that time, South Sudan was a little bit unknown. We had played them in a friendly in Morocco before. We had won that game 2-1.
Exactly.
And they had really some quality players, a lot of physical strength. The reason we put James in the right back position, we tried it, was 2. Noah Sonko Sundberg was in the last moment not available, our regular right wing back. And Saidi Yanko was also not available to come and play. There were 2 options for the right wing back. We had only Mohamed Sane, and Mohamed had played a few days ago, if I'm right, against United Arab Emirates, and for us he was in that game not 100% convincing. We conceded the goal on his side in that game, and we were not 100% sure, also because South Sudan had a lot of tall players, physical tall players. We thought if we have James and if we have Bouba Sane and Omar Colley, then we have more physical strength in the back. They were used to play high balls, so we could win these aerial balls. That was the idea of it. I have to say that James is not a right wing back. He played sometimes for Horsens on the right wing back position. Also, that we asked the player. It was not many games, so we thought, okay, he played for his club there. Let's try it. But it didn't work out. I have to admit it was not the right choice, and probably if he had used Mohamed Sane in that game on the right wing back would have been better solution. But there are choices you make. We were 1-0 ahead. I remember we had some opportunities to score in the first half. In the second half, we were really taken by surprise by the opponent. They were fast. They play a direct game. They were dangerous. They had some opportunities and really had to struggle. And I think later they also proved that they were good. They beat Congo Brazzaville. They made it very difficult against Mali at home, where they only lost the game in the extra time. They were 1-1 to 90th minute. So I think we didn't know exactly the current force of that South Sudan. And South Sudan was not as weak as everyone thought. So we were happy with the 1-0 victory in that game. And I think we could have scored in the first half goal more. And the second half, we could be happy that it was 1-0.
Absolutely. Even me, I didn't expect them. I didn't expect South Sudan to be that good in the second half, but they did. Going into the second game against Congo, knowing what happened on that day, if we have to For example, if you have to repeat that game, will you have the same approach going forward in that game?
Yeah, but to be honest, in Congo were two things. Like I said, we were so tired. We didn't sleep for 2 nights. Know in modern football how important is the recovery. You play on Saturday. Players have no time to recover. They couldn't sleep. They had to fly Saturday night to Casablanca. Sunday we stayed the whole day in the hotel close to the airport. Some players sleep a little bit. Some people walk around. Some eat. You have no chance to train there, and then on Sunday night you travel to Brazzaville. You arrive there on Monday morning, and you have 1 or 2 sessions before the game. I think we controlled without having really offensive actions. We played for a full crowd, fantastic atmosphere. I was impressed how the atmosphere was in Congo Brazzaville. We played on an artificial grass pitch, what makes it extra tough. The ball was bouncing. It was not one of the modern pitches. It was a little bit older pitch. And till the 70th minute, we didn't play brilliant football, but it was 0-0. And I mean, if we could have won the first game and draw the second game away in Congo Brazzaville, we made a big step. Remember when we qualified, we won away in South Sudan. We drew against Congo and we had 4 points after the 2 first matches. So that was also our instinct. We thought, let's take a point here in the circumstances we are with the fatigue. And then they score. Okay, they had several opportunities to score, but not really big chances. It's not that Babu Gage had to make big saves. They had a lot of ball possession. They had a lot of power play in Congo Brazzaville, but not create really huge chances. And then they score from a distance where the midfield,
Yeah.
Ibrima Darbu, Sumamari, and Yusuf Al Bob maybe have not pressure on the ball. They kick the ball from outside the 16. And yeah, then it's 1-0, and it's very difficult to come back. I believe still if we had played this game 2 days later with more rest rate, or if we had not traveled 36 hours without sleeping, we would not have won that game, but we would have stolen 1 point. I think that would have been realistic at the moment of time. Congo is not a weak team. It looks like their performances are quite weak, but they have decent players playing in European leagues. Guillaume Benza, the striker, Jean Voula, these are players who play in Europe on a good level, or played on Europe in good level. So, but I really, the 4th and the 8th, South Sudan and Congo, that was not the right planning. It was too close to each other, and it has an influence on the second game.
So meaning fatigue played a huge part on the results.
Yeah, because I think we have proven the last 5 years that we can be under pressure. Remember Morocco match, remember Algeria matches. We don't need to concede goals. Even if we are playing not really good football, we can still maintain the pressure. In this game, we maintained the pressure for 70, 74 minutes, but then one moment, one mistake of fatigue, and not football fatigue, but really travel fatigue that we were not recovered. I saw some comments. Yeah, the coach select players who are not match fit. I mean, the players were playing 3 days earlier, 90 minutes without problem, and then they had 36 hours flight for in being traveling and 2 night flights. That had a huge influence on the players. And I think that played a big role. I don't say we would have won the match. I think really a draw would have been the maximum in Congo Brazzaville at that moment of time. But yeah, we came home with a loss, and that was a disappointment because that put pressure on the coming Mali games a few months later in March of this year. So we made it ourselves not easy.
All right,
Thank you.
Coach.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that inside analysis of those 2 previous games. I'm gonna go fast forward, because there are crucial moments during the qualifiers, and I wanted to pick up references because when we started our qualifier, we won the first game and lost the second game. So then we play when we lost against DR Congo, we still feel like, okay, that's an away game. We have a target, and the target we're still on track. On track. We played the next crucial phase was against Mali when we have to play a double leg against Mali. That was a difficult, and that was the most decisive tie during that transfer window. Went to Mali, lost 2-0. And I feel this is how I feel. I feel like that was one of the games that we played, and the boys were you could see sense of urgency in what they play, and and that also make it really easy for the strikers because you played with Ali and Hassan, and they really give a lot of troubles to the Malians in terms of putting their defense under pressure. How did you prepare knowing it's Mali and they are a team to beat in our group? If we want to make it to the qualifiers or make it to the AFCON, that was a two-legged game right there. That was very, very crucial. How did you
Yeah,
prepare that game?
for me, Mali is one of the strongest teams currently in Africa. They got 15 points. If you look where all these players play, and they have game time in their clubs in Wolverhampton, Crystal Palace, Everton, Stade Reims. You can mention all the teams: Red Bull, Leipzig, Salzburg, Salernitana. They have a big crew of players who really play, and all play in France, in England, in all these leagues. It's a team what I can see going to the World Cup in Mexico. I expected them, to be honest, in the World Cup in Qatar. They lost against Tunisia, but for me, it's one of the powerhouses in football, in current football in Africa. We went there, fantastic atmosphere, very good treatment, top class hotel. We went there, the people respected us very much, and we addressed to the players before the game that Mali will start very offensive, very aggressive. And because they scored after less than 3 minutes a goal against Congo Brazzaville, and we showed the videos, and we said don't give too much space in the midfield in the first in the game against Mali. And there we opened with too much space in the midfield. We were putting pressure ahead. They used that and scored after less than 3 minutes that opening goal. So after that 1-0 and then later 2-0, then from now it's all or nothing. We need to win at home against Mali. If we could have stolen a point in Mali, you take some pressure away. But now the pressure was fully on. We would play in Casablanca, the return match a few days later. We had the top class hotel again in Casablanca. We had good preparation training, and we knew we need to win. But most important and crucial was not only that Ali and Hassan played as offensive players, but our midfield. Our midfield was Sulman Mare, Hamza Berry, and Alassane Mane, if I'm right, in that game. And they were playing compact. They were holding the ball. They were not losing too easy the ball, but they were also giving Mali limited space. Mali liked to infiltrate to the center, and because we had three very strong midfield players, the spaces were compact. Mali couldn't create chances. We were standing defensively wise very good, and because of the offensive options we had, we could also have actions up front, and we did it very well. Ali was there, Assam was there, Musaber was there. We really had good ball possession, and we could create the chances. Only it took again very long to a standard situation where Ibrahim Akoli has a cross and Omar Koli could score. But game was crucial, and that game made us also the feeling from everything is possible again. We beat Mali, the strongest team, 1-0. I got messages that day from all over Africa. They say, how can you beat Mali? Mali did not lost a game for, I think, 14 months before they lost against us. And after that, they didn't lose again. So that gave us confidence, and that was very positive in the road to qualify.
It would be fair to say, from your own perspective, if Gambia plays against a team that is a little bit tougher, they always raise their game, and they really makes it really, really difficult for their opponents, especially when the opponent is it's at the higher level. And also would be fair to say we struggle against teams that we think we are even in terms of performance. We might have the quality, we have the talent in the team, we have the quality, we have the players, to match any team. But looking at the name of the team that we played with, do you agree that you kind of raise, or the whole team raised their game when they played against top teams?
Yeah, I see two reasons for that. One of the reasons is the quality of our players. We have a lot of speed. We have wingers with speed. We have strikers with speed. We have a lot of speed. I can use 6, 7, 8 wingers. I can change them all and bring top class wingers in and again and again and again. And to use speed, you need space. And when do you get space? When you play against a team who play also attacking football, a team who sit back like Chad or like Djibouti. You don't have much space behind their defense, and you can't use the quality of the Gambia. Some people sometimes say the coach is defensive. Sure, I like a defense organization, but sometimes I like also to sit a little bit back to create space for our speed, because Ibrahim Akoli, Yankuba Minte, in the past Musa Barrow, they like to run in speed. Even our strikers, Hassan Cisse is a striker, for instance, who like to make the runs. The majority of the Gambian players are speedy players, fast players, and that's naturally easier against bigger teams where you get space to run, because the bigger teams take more risk and have more ball possession than when you play against a defense organized opponent. The second thing is also psychologically, I think. Against a big team, it's naturally a motivation, but against a small team, I notice that my players are much more stressed. Probably also the stress we put on ourselves, but also the stress from outside, from the fans, from the public, because we have to win against Djibouti, we have to win against South Sudan, we have to win against Chad, and that stress easy for every player to cope with, and I think that plays also a role. So first of all, our players' quality is in speed, having transition football. Naturally, we can play on the half of the opponent, but if there is a wall of players, it's sometimes difficult to open it. And for many teams in the world, most of the goals in international football are scored of transition from defense to attack and from standard situations, set pieces. And secondly, psychologically, I think it's for us more difficult to play a weak opponent, because the stress is there that you have to win. And probably there we have to grow in, and we have to learn how bigger we become, how more AFCONs we play, how further we go. We're going to play more smaller teams, so we have to cope with that.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you have anything before I move to the last phase of the qualifiers, that is the June game, and then the September game that we just played.
Yeah, the last game. I think. Yeah, I think we exhausted most of the areas.
Yeah. So we will go back
from the first game.
Yeah, we will go back a
South
little bit.
Sudan,
We will go back.
Second game, and yeah, for me, I was more concerned with the double header with Mali.
Okay.
I was content with we lose away and win. Either way, I want us to share the points with Mali. I wasn't looking for a, let's say, draw in Bamako, draw in. No, I wanted, if Ghana cannot take at least 4 points, you have to split the points. Three points, and that's exactly what happened. And the moment we defeated Mali, I said it on all the platforms. I said, we are back. I said, we are back. We are going to the AFCON. Because for me, I was really confident that South Sudan, yes, they might cause troubles, but I think we got this. My feelings were positive going forward that we got this. So that wonderful win against Mali was the icing on the cake, and I think it's always good to win against bigger opposition, because it put us, we earn our respect, because South Sudan couldn't beat Mali, Congo couldn't beat Mali, so we did, and I think that was the edge we got, so we deserve to be where we are. So I think for me that was the turning point, and I said it. If we can get 3 points against Mali, we are going back to AFCON, and God has come again, and we did it. So we are there.
Yeah, and in saying so, because
and then what I want to ask, Coach, yes, you mentioned something very important, because the approach in the second game, the tactical approach was kind of different with the first leg in Mali. Coach, what was in your mind for you to come up with such a formation?
Yeah, first of all, it was a must-win match, very important, and we wanted also to surprise our opponent. I have to say that for the first game, Ali arrived only a few days before the match, I think 1 day or 2 days before the game. We had the training camp in Morocco, but Ali asked to arrive straight in Mali. He couldn't be from the start in the camp, so Ali did only one training session in Mali with us. So I could not also include him in the starting 11 because we had not trained with him, only the last pre-match training. And then when we returned to Morocco, we could train on the tactics with Ali. And we wanted to surprise with Hassan and Ali up front. We thought our opponent will not expect that. And both players can hold the ball. Both players are strong in runs to the goal. And that was a little bit the game plan. Both surprise for the opponent, time to train it, because if the players are not there, we cannot prepare the tactics on training, and also the quality of the players.
Right. So
Thank you.
we will go to that game against South Sudan. People might think that winning Mali was a game that set us to the AFCON, which I agreed, because I feel like they were a team to beat. But also, I feel like South Sudan, knowing how they grow, they're growing, and they're growing more confidence during the qualifiers. We had a crucial game with them. Very, very crucial, dangerous game. And, it was a 5-goal trailer. They equalized in the 90th minute, and Hamza scored in the 96 minutes of the game. That was kind of an even game. Crazy game.
Yeah, first of all, I have to say we had a fantastic training camp there. We had time to train because we had only one game, and they put on purpose the game on Wednesday, the first day that you can play a game, because there were 10 days more to play the game. But they thought Gambia, as professionals, they cannot have training camp. They were already 2 weeks there. What we did was we started the training camp before the FIFA date started, because it was in June, and a lot of our players were already on holiday. So we discussed with the players, can you come earlier to the training camp, because the game is the first day of the FIFA break. I mean, Monday it starts, and Wednesday they wanted to play it. So we start on Thursday in Cairo. We had a good camp. Players were there, and then we went to Ismaila. I think there only the problem was, and it sounds strange, we scored too early the goal. The first few minutes we played well. We have that free kick where they score an own goal from, and we are 1-0 ahead. And then we drop the level. We don't keep on playing for the 2-0. We don't keep playing for the confidence of winning that game. We drop a little bit back. There's no question from the coach. There's no tactical agreement from let's drop back after 1-0. It's more from, okay, we are 1-0 ahead. We are almost there, I think. And then they came back in the game. Second half, we scored 2-1. And in the second half, we are fully in control. We knock the ball around in a fantastic way. The only complaint I have then is there's moments that we knock the ball around only to knock the ball around. And in my intention, we have always to have ball possession with the goal to create chances to score goals. Ball possession to have ball possession doesn't bring anything. And that happened. In the 90th minute, there happens or 89th minute, there happens Hamza is in the midfield having the ball. Hamza, no one of us know what foul Hamza did. He was between two South Sudanese players. They kick it very fast. The ball goes in corner, and out of that corner, they score the equalizer. And that was a cold shower. But I have to say that even if that game was a draw, it would have not changed anything, because we would be still 1 point ahead of Congo-Brazzaville, and we needed still 1 point in the last game. But I would be ashamed to draw against South Sudan, and I'm so proud of the boys to have that mentality to bounce back and to score that winning goal. And I was also very happy for Hamza Berry that he did it after his long-term injury and missing out in the previous AFCON, that he could show the country that he was back and scored that goal. But I think two things were important. We scored too early the goal and took it too easy afterwards. Sometimes it's also not good in our mentality. And the second half, we could have pushed for 3-1, but we kept on knocking the ball around without the intentions to score the third goal. And that was a problem in the dying seconds of the 90 minutes.
Coach,
But
that's important. That's important because right here, I would like you to go in detail because most of the people, this is a fun forum and everybody wants to ask a question. I mean, I can understand their feelings and their frustrations, but we cannot ask every single question that they wanted us to ask. Every Gambian fans, most of the people think you are very, very defensive. You know, you go to the social media. I'm sure you have read some comments. Hey, coach, you have to play attacking football. You have to play attacking football. We need to play open. Yes, sometimes we feel like we play too comfortable. What is your assessment? Do you think you are more defensive or do you are more offensive?
oh, I think I'm in the first place a coach who tried to win matches. Uh, and in my eyes, you need a very good defense organization to win games.
Okay.
If you build a house, everyone want the television, everyone want to have nice decoration. But if the structure of the house is not good, your house will collapse. And therefore, I think when I arrived 5 years ago in the Gambia, I built the house a good stability so that we don't concede too easy goals, and from there we can play. And I said years ago, long before Gambia, if you have good strikers, you need to play defensive football. What I mean is the strikers, they will get their chances, they will score the goals, but we must defend as a team, not to concede goals. We are not yet a powerhouse like Cameroon or Nigeria or Algeria. We are coming closer and we are improving and we are against them, but we are not there, not like many other countries. So we need always to think about a good organization. And for me, I like to win. I don't like that people say Tom was the best coach in history, but he never qualified us. I like that people say Tom is a terrible coach, but he qualified, he becomes 16 AFCON, and you never know what all comes. For me, it's about results. If I ask you, do you want to be world champion or do you want to be the best in the world? I prefer to be world champion, and even if I'm not the best in the world, I'm world champion. And that instinct I try to have. It's about the result. If we can play nice football and get a good result, perfect. If it's without nice football and we still have a good result, also perfect.
So it would be fair to say that you set up your teams with a clear foundation, with a clear vision, that you have to be you need to have some stability in your defense before you can start exposing your opponents going forward.
Yeah, and I understand the Gambian fans fully. Let me. I don't want to offend anyone. I fully understand their feelings. If you watch football, if you see currently Barcelona or you see Manchester City, you see very offensive football. If you watch African football, if you go Real de Banjul against Walidan, you see offensive football. If you see in our town football, majority of African football, everyone play offensive football. But in offensive football, it's attractive for fans. But sometimes, if you play naive offensive football, you will lose. And for me, it's about a controlled offensive football, what sounds then defense football. And in the beginning of my career in the Gambia, I focused really on defense. Remember the games against Algeria or against Morocco, where we had only 20% ball possession and we won or we drew against them. That was real catenaccio. That was real non-football to get the result. I think now we developed to playing football. We have 55% ball possession. We have more passes. We have more successful passes. We create more chances. We have more shots on target. But I think the impression by a lot of people is still, the coach is defensive. So we say if it goes wrong, if the first half is not good, it's because of the defensive approach. And that's not always correct. But I take it, for me, everyone is allowed to have an opinion. And I fully understand the emotions of the Gambian people. But I'm there to guide the Gambia together with my technical team, my team manager, with everyone around me to guide them to successes. And I don't want that they say we played brilliant, but we lost 4-5. I prefer that they say, terrible coach, but we qualified. So that's my goal.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. And then results is it's the key thing here. That's why coaches are fired and they are hired. So if coaches don't win games, they're fired. So if they continue winning games, they continue giving them a bumpy contract. I perfectly understand, and I I mean I completely understand the fans as well. Their feelings, their frustration. I'm really happy that Tom pays attention to you and he also understands your feelings, respected. But here we have to see things at the bigger picture. As long as he is delivering the results for the country, I don't think there is more to say, because that is why he's hired. We all had Tom. I think that is really, really loud and clear. He has answered questions regarding people that think he's very defensive. We might disagree. I personally might disagree with Tom, with some of the things that happens in the game, but that doesn't mean that he's wrong or I'm wrong. That is football. Like I always said, you bring in 2 coaches, 3 coaches, 4 coaches on a team, they have a different philosophy. They think differently. So we need to respect that as well. And I'm sure the fans love you. Nobody hates you. Everybody wants the best for the country.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think coach has spoken really well. Uh, One thing that interests me the most is he understands the fans' emotions and sentiments. Football
Mm.
is a game of opinions, and it's a game that every single person is a coach. So the fact that he understands that, to have that thick skin, that is really important as a coach or as a leader, because people will always have their opinion, including myself and you.
Yeah.
The fact that yes, football is a resource. It's all about resource at the end. Maybe people might think that, okay, Gambia 10 years ago and Gambia now is quite different in terms
Yeah.
of the amount of players we got. Are we having players playing in decent leagues? So we expect the performance in terms of the way we approach game a bit different. And that is things that people normally talk about in the votes and campus in Gambia. But I want to ask Coach one question. We've been lately we've been conceding goals lately. We hardly get the clean sheet compared to before. So what are your concerns going forward? Because if you are almost having a goal or 2 in a game, it means Gambia has to score more to win games. For example, what happens against South Sudan? We have to score 3 to win. So what are your concerns going forward? Defensively, we've been conceding some goals.
Just to put some weight, coach, on his question. For the past 4 games, we've conceded like about 2, 4, 6 goals for the past 4 games. So just to buttress on what Abibi said, what are the things that you just to remedy the situation, to try to work on conceding goals? Because if you don't concede goals, you don't lose games.
no, fully agree. I think sometimes there are individual reasons. We have limited time. We have players maybe not always in shape, but it's also by choosing more quality players in the midfield who have more ball possession that you sometimes open the door. In one way, the public want that our midfield players are all skillful players. They want the Hamza Berries, the Abla Jalos, the Alassane Manes. They want all these skillful players in the midfield. But in the past, when I first time selected Ibu Adams, I was booed, and Ibu Adams was booed 5 years ago when he played for Absolute. When I selected Ibrahim Sona, when I selected Mohamed Mbai or Dauda Angam. But in football, sometimes you need these kind of players. You need Gattusos in your team, players who are there to battle for the team, who recover the ball. You cannot win games only with skillful players, because you don't want that teams concede. And my observation is also that we concede currently too much goals. We have to analyze that. We have to see what we can do. Looking forward to the World Cup qualifiers in November, and also later on in the Africa Cup. What I have to go back, some people say about I have a brilliant team, but I think Gambia has many years a brilliant team. I think in 10 years ago, the majority of my players played 10 years ago. The Omar Collies, the Ali Sowes, Hassan Sisse's, the defense, we had a lot of play. Dowd and Gun was already there. A lot of players were Mohamed Mbai, Sona, the guys who helped our qualification, Modu Job. So many players were already 10 years ago available. And at that time, I loved, for instance, the tall striker, Mamadou Cisse, but also Yato Jarju. They played in Holland, and they played week in, week out in Belgium, in Holland, scored a lot of goals. I think that Gambia, since the time of Seifu, of Silla, of these guys, they had always quality players. And Gambia maybe underestimated their own quality and saw themselves always as not good enough. But I applied in 2003 for the Gambian job. I applied in 2006, 2010, because I always believed that Gambia had the quality like they have now. And I have find the balance in brilliance in ball possession and still the stability when we don't have the ball. And that's what I like, for instance, on Ibrahima Sona. Even when he had no team, he was very useful in recovering the ball, in coaching the rest of the team. And maybe we miss sometimes that leadership, not only the quality on the pitch, but the leadership in the midfield of players who take responsibility and coaching. We have now a few months' time to build that, to demand it of the players, and to be ready for that. Because when we play AFCON, it will be very important not to concede goals. We won 1-0 against Mauritania, 1-1 against Mali, 1-0 against Tunisia, 1-0 against Guinea-Conakry. Because we didn't concede, we could score only one goal to win. And in AFCON, you will meet top teams. You will not create many chances, so you need to score the chances you get, and you don't have to give presents to the opponent. So I think it's a very good remark from you both, and we have to work on that.
Yeah, it's important just to share our opinion. We're going back a little bit to our last game that is just concluded, Gambia Congo. We saw two different halves. We played the first half with a lot of deficiencies. We don't control the games. A lot was happening. In fact, it was really, really difficult for you to try to understand what the team is trying to do at that point in time. But here's the thing. We were 2-0 down and came into the second half. That was a different ball game. First of all, I want to sound your opinion. What really happens in the first half? What have you changed in the dressing room just to make everything look like a complete team so we can focus on the winning mentality? Because there are a clip that we saw. We saw players went into the dressing room and they are frustrated. Hassan Passe, he made a very strong comment to his boys that they need to fight. So before you come in, they realize they haven't did enough just to keep up the game plan. What really transpired during that first period of the game?
Yeah. Naturally, everyone know about the earthquake situation on Friday night. Exactly now, a week ago, we experienced probably for all of us the most terrible moment in our life. There were seconds that we thought we would not survive. An earthquake of that magnitude we never experienced in our lives. The hotel was shaking. Ceilings were falling down. Things were falling from the wall. The walls were going 50 centimeter left, 50 centimeter right. Very crazy situation. I was laying under pillows near my bed, hoping that the ceiling will not fall. And otherwise I would never see my family anymore and would never have played any game. And we ran out after the first shock was gone. We were standing outside on the pool, and some people were missing. We called each other. We found people outside on the other side of the hotel. It was the most scary moment for all of us. Players were in shock. Staff members were in shock. The hotel said we couldn't return. There were crashes. Things were broken. The structures of the hotel were broken. Everyone was scared. And we slept 2 nights before the game outside in a desert environment where it cools very hard down in the middle of the night. We slept outside. The Saturday, the day before the game, there was a lot of unknown things. Players didn't want to play. I thought they would cancel the game or postpone the game better because of out of respect for all the casualties in Cameroon. I thought also that we were not ready for that match because everyone was scared for another earthquake. Then we got the news we had to play. We trained. In the training session, I tried to create a good, positive atmosphere. Players seemed to be relaxed during training session, but then returning to the hotel, we got new rooms on the ground floor. But 16 from the 23 players decided to sleep again outside the day before the game. That's not sleeping on beds. That's sleeping on metal beach chairs, not comfortable in the open air the night before a match. Also, several staff members. I slept in the room on the ground floor. I slept in my clothes with my shoes near my bed and the door open so that I could run out. The physical coach, he went to try to sleep in his bed, and 10 minutes later he came back with his pillow and his blanket because every noise he heard, he was scared. So everyone was just traumatized. And then the day of the game, to be honest, I had a good feeling before the game. I thought we were well prepared. And the game starts, and from the first second, we are so nervous. The players who have so much qualities, they were so nervous in the game. We lose duels, we give corners away. In ball possession, we give the ball very easy to the opponent. There was no, I saw comments about the coach start very defensively. There's no coach in the world to say, guys, start nervous, kick the ball in corner. When we have the ball, give it to the opponent. It was pure, probably lack of sleep, the nerves and the stress around this game, plus the earthquake, what didn't show the real quality of my players. And exactly, I think the referee didn't help because I didn't think it was a penalty, the ball against the back of Omar Colley. We went in halftime. I was a little bit later because I was talking with my technical team. And the players were really nervous. They were shouting. They were saying things. So when I came in, I said, okay, I don't need to shout. I don't need to be negative. Let me be positive. And the most important thing I said is, guys, sit down, drink something, eat something, recover to play further. And then I said, now important in the second half is that we don't go out with the intention to score immediately a goal because that would put more stress on the players. I said, please go out, go and play football, have fun, keep the ball in the team, but on the half of the opponent to create chances. Not saying we have to push, but get confidence in your game because in the first half, the quality players we have, and all 11 were quality players on the first half pitch, but nervous, stress. I don't know what it was, but we didn't perform according to plan and according to their qualities. And in the second half, we made 2 changes. We brought Ablaye Diallo in, we brought Yankuba Minte in. And the reason that Ablaye Diallo was on the bench was very clear. On Monday, he was even not released by his club because of the injury and the lack of play time. Even Aliou Fidera was on Monday not released. We had to fight to get the players into camp, but medical reasons allow him only to play maximum 30 to 45 minutes. So then we opted it would be better to have him in the second half than to start with him in the first half. So he brought these players in, and when Ablaye and Yankuba came in, the whole team changed. Also, players who played nervous in the first half started playing confident in the second half, and I think in the whole second half we were in control of the game. But there was again a scary moment when the coach player, Abukar, and hit the post. That would have been terrible eventually if it would have been 3-0. But in the whole second half, I had the confidence that we would come back because the boys played according to plan and according to their qualities. And the nerves were gone. They played relaxed and focused on their qualities. So, it was a very strange roller coaster game and roller coaster week.
2 things. Mohamed Badamosi came into the second half. He made a statement. Yankuba Minte came into the second half, making a statement. We all know Abdoulaye Diallo, anytime he comes into the team, he tried to give something. Are you started thinking about how you can integrate or switch things around a little bit? just to make sure that you accommodate these players that has really made statement for themselves?
Yeah, we will take game by game, but don't forget that not so long ago, the people were shouting and writing on internet that I didn't have to select Badamosi, uh, that other strikers were better than Badamosi. I think for 4 years, people were complaining that I selected Badamosi, and now everyone celebrates Badamosi. We
Yep.
always believed in his quality. Bada is a fantastic personality, a really athlete with muscle, very important in the team atmosphere, and he can change games. He scored his first goal 3 years ago in Turkey in training camp. He showed a week or 10 days ago in Saudi Arabia what he could do there with a brilliant goal scoring there. And now he came in and he changed things. Yankuba Minte, I saw him last year, his third match for Odense. I was impressed with his qualities. We got him in camp for the Guinea-Bissau game. He played well that game. We invited him in June to play South Sudan, but he was busy with a transfer and he didn't come to our South Sudan game. But clear, Badamosi and Yankuba, but not only them, also Bamba Sanyang and other people who came in. They are knocking on the door. They have the quality to start, and it's difficult for a coach, but it's also fantastic for a coach to have more than 11 players of top quality. Hassan Sisse scored yesterday again for Damak in the Saudi League, 3 goals in 3 matches in the 5 first matches of his club. Hassan is the top scorer of the team. There are periods that Hassan was brilliant for us, and it's good to have a player like Badamosi. We have Ibrahima Koli, who was not fully fit on the right wing because he didn't play. When Ibrahima start playing, he will be more fit. But we have Yankuba, we have Bamba, we have Aliou Federa. We have alternatives, and that makes the Gambia a strong team. And there are many players I didn't mention who are even not in the selection, who we follow. And I think the quality of a successful team is not the first 11, but is the people on the bench who you can bring in and strengthen with a change. That's the quality, and all thumbs up for these players.
Yeah, and also the player pool of the Gambia is expanding day by day. You know, it's getting bigger and bigger, especially looking at the last under 20 teams players. You know, most of them have started their journey in the European team. So, are you paying taps on those players as well, and potentially we see some of those players being given chance to come to the national team and just share that experience with the senior players? Because I mean, in the national team, it has to be a continuous transition, you know, and then you need to be bringing players, giving them that little opportunities just to make them have a realistic understanding on how the national team works. Are you really, paying attention in the player pool of the Gambia right now?
Yeah, I think the last 5 years has shown that I'm always open for transition. I think 70 players or more than 70 players played for the Scorpions under me. 36 players made their debut. Some of them played only 1 or 2 matches and then didn't come back anymore in the selection. Others of them are there. Musa Barrow, Ibrahima Koli were probably the first ones to make their debut under me. But later, the Yankuba Mintes and a lot of others got their opportunities to play for the national team. And I was very happy with the development of our with Tatar and Boch, then with Ablai Bojang, and actually Sangandong as technical director, who are all making fantastic jobs. I think we have a very good development. And that's not only the federation, that are also the clubs, the academies, Real de Banjul, Walidan, Fortune, all the clubs in the league, Falcons, but also academies who are like Gambinos, who are doing very good development because they develop the players. They scout the players on the street, they scout the players on the beach, they bring them together and they develop them. So the success of the Gambia in the under 20, in the senior team, starts on club level, starts in the development, and there is a bright future. And I'm following these players. I watched all the games of our under 20 in the World Cup. I'm in touch with them. Our left back from CSKA Sofia, Sanyang, was in this pre-selection for this game, but then finally we decided not to call him up. I'm close in touch with several of these players. At that time went to Hanover. He was called up for the Hanover for the game against South Sudan, but his agent told him not to come. Very weird. I don't know why. His agent told him not to come. Otherwise, he would be in the selection for the South Sudan game. But we are following them. I'm talking with Adama Bojang. I'm following Bajo, controlling midfield player. We are following all these players, and we will look how is the development in Europe, how regular they play, how strong they are, and you never know. Maybe one or two. I don't think a big group will make the final selection for AFCON because we have also a group who qualified the team and who deserve to be there. But in the near future, we can expect these players also to make their debut in the national team.
Right, Coach. Before we just take leave of you, I'm gonna let Abib come in. I'm gonna let Abib come in because I have an important question from one of our followers, Ras Judah, who is unable to be on this show, but is a regular contributor to this show. He said, Coach, I know you don't want to run because before knowing how cruel, but I think it is really crazy to start thinking about the Gambia, can take this to the next level of achievement, which is qualifying to the World Cup. With what, will you say is in missing the squad, okay? And where can we improve so we can possibly make it to the World Cup with this golden generation?
I wrote 4 years ago a plan for the Gambia Federation, and it was called Gambia 2026, because my big dream as a coach is going to the World Cup. And I really believe that we have now already the quality in the new setup where 9 countries will qualify to be able to compete to the last day to go to the World Cup. And if we have a little bit luck on our side, if our players stay healthy and fit, play regularly in their clubs, and if our new young players will also play regularly, I really believe that we have a chance to qualify for the World Cup. We are in a group with Ivory Coast, Gabon, Kenya, Burundi, and Seychelles. Ivory Coast is the big favorite. Gabon is a good team. Kenya can be not underestimated, and even Burundi, who was in 2019 at the AFCON. But I really believe that if we play smart, we cannot win every game. But if we catch the points when needed and don't lose unnecessary points, we can qualify for this World Cup in 2026. That's my big dream. I will do everything for that. What is needed in our team? I mentioned it already. I think very important is that our major players, and we all know that it's Omar Colley, that's Ablai Jallo, that's Musa Barrow, and a lot of other guys. When our major players stay fit, play regular, or in top shape, it will help the team to lead the team to our successes. It will be very important that the rest of the team play regular with their clubs, and that young players who are coming, like Adama Bojang, like other players, develop on club level, gonna start playing first team football. And then I really believe that with a little bit luck on our side, we really can qualify for the World Cup. Ivory Coast is the favorite. And hopefully we can play at home. Hopefully we can play our games for the World Cup qualifiers at home, because then we are in our hotel, then we can train on our pitch. We have full control when our opponent trains. We have full control when we train. We have control over everything. Also, traveling will be much easier. Players will be happy to play for the fans, but also happy to meet their family. We want to experience these games like against DR Congo or against Algeria, where 40,000 people are screaming for us and celebrating us. That's what we want. And I want to do everything for it. And I think we don't have 90% chance, but we have a chance to qualify for this World Cup. And I believe in this.
Are you, once the draw is done, I know everybody will be cautious now. We've seen a couple of days ago, the teams have been put in a different pots for the draw. But once the draw is done, are you looking at having any preparatory game with like the top countries in Africa, probably having an exhibition game with Senegal, in Banjul or in Senegal would definitely, would be something that are you considering something like playing either Senegal, Ghana, or those top teams are in the fourth spot? Are Are you having any plans on holding any test game with them?
Yeah, first of all, everything depends of the budgets. We are still a small country. Some countries have a lot of financial support from sponsors and television rights. We are limited naturally in finances, so it depends of the draw. In the last AFCON, we had planned two games against Syria and against Algeria. Algeria as African champion, a top team, and as preparation for our Tunisia game. Cancelled and we couldn't play them. And now, depending on which group we are, it will be very nice to play one of these top nations in preparation to AFCON. And naturally, I know all Gambians are looking forward to that, to play Senegal. It will be fantastic. To be honest, I prefer Africa Cup final on the 23rd on the 13th of February 2024 against Senegal. That would be brilliant to have that final. But let's see. I'm looking forward to these kind of games. As you earlier said in the show, we are always strong against the strong opponents. So I'm looking forward to these games, but it depends on the draw, and it depends naturally of the opportunities we get and if they are financially possible for us.
Well, I will let Abib, if Abib have something. I know I have break the rules. We agreed on 1 hour, and I've taken it to 1 hour 15 minutes. So my part on that, and my apologies. Abib, if you have anything for Coach.
Yeah, I think today's program was basically to allow Coach to, to express himself. Because there are always a lot of things to ask about. But today's, I think it's a platform that we are all happy to have him here to ask him certain questions. And, I think he has spoken really well. And then we also understand certain things. It's always good to have an exclusive, because, for example, that what he explained about that game in Congo, the away game, they spent almost 2 nights on the way. This is news to me, So it's very important to have this kind of information. So going forward, Coach, we all know that I think we're gonna play 2 matches in the World Cup qualifiers before we head to the AFCON. So I saw Burundi. I think they lost to Cameroon, right?
Yes, they lost. Yeah.
They lost to Cameroon, but the performance of the Burundians was on top. So for most Gambians, will always join teams based on the name or where they came from. But I've got the chance to watch them. I think they are impressive, and to beat them or even to get a point away to Burundi, we have to be at our best to do so. So
Yeah,
I don't know how far have you gone with your groundwork in terms of trying to analyze all these opponents going forward, because it's always easy to know how Ivory Coast will play, but some of these countries like Kenya, I've seen that Kenya have lost to South Sudan inside Kenya 1-0. So it also explains how South Sudan are going now. They're really doing good. So I don't know how far you've gone with your groundwork in terms of trying to know the opponents, their strength and their weaknesses. I also understand from what you're saying that it's also very important to play in Banjul. Because since it's been 2 years, the home fans misses the team. I know it's not your fault, or it's our government has to do the right thing. So what are our chances? For example, if we have to play all our matches, for example, in Morocco, is there any difference playing home or playing all our matches in Morocco?
Yeah. First of all, I think you have a very good observation that shows that football. Both of you, Burundi is a tough opponent and physically strong opponent. They have players, also professional players, but even their local players. I played once against the champion of Burundi with young Africans long ago in 2012. When I won the Sekafa Cup. It's a little bit the Champions League from East and Central Africa. And they were physically strong, very motivated, tough. It depends also where we're going to play. Do we play in Burundi or do we play a neutral ground? That will have also, but we need to be well prepared. till now, we were not focusing on the World Cup qualifiers. Till now, it was Congo Brazzaville. That was the only game we focused. Okay, we knew our opponents, we followed, we read a little bit about them, but we didn't do detailed analysis. We watched now the Cameroon match from Burundi. I have to say, you mentioned that Kenya lost from South Sudan, but I have to say also that Kenya won a few days earlier, 1-2 in Qatar against Qatar.
Yeah.
Qatar who played in the last World Cup, and Kenya won there 1-2. So easy opponents we won't face. They will respect us, but it's very important is we have to respect them also, because otherwise we could be very disappointed if by underrating them. I think we need being well prepared. That means good travel times. Don't forget, when we qualified in 2021, we had 2 times a charter flight. One time to Gabon, one time the Angola home match and the Congo match. In this qualification, it was not possible. I think if we want to qualify, sometimes it's needed. South Sudan went with a charter plane to Congo Brazzaville and won in Congo Brazzaville. So, I mean, it has influenced the quality of preparation, the limited flight times, the maximum amount of rest rate, maximum amount of training together will have an influence. Very good analysis of our opponents, not underestimating them, and naturally the availability of our players, that we can play in a strong team with a lot of confidence in ball possession, but still also with a good organization, not to concede goals, because also against Burundi, it will be important that they don't score. And as long as it stays 0-0 there, we will have chances. And we know with Badamosi, with Assam, with Musa Barrow, with Abla Jallo, with Yankuba Minte, with all the other players, Ibrima Collis and Sanyangs, we will have opportunities to score. And if we could take 3 points there, what's not easy, we will make a brilliant start. And then we face Cote d'Ivoire at home. And that is naturally the toughest opponent. And I really would like to play that game in Banjul. I think it will be a huge difference if we play them in neutral ground, without fans, without home things. Because it's not always that we have neutral. It's not an advantage for us, because if Cote d'Ivoire come to Morocco, the Moroccans going to respect more Ivory Coast than they respect us. They probably get better training times than us. They get better infrastructure than us. If we play in Gambia, we have full control over everything. So it's very important. It's important to play for our home fans, to celebrate with the fans, to have the support of the fans, for us all, for me, for the players, but also to make it more difficult for the opponent. Because on neutral ground, we are both the same. We have no advantage, they have no advantage. But if we had play at home, let's say we have 70% advantage and they have only 30%. If you play neutral, it's 50-50. And sometimes if you play neutral, it's 40-60 in advantage of the big team. So I hope we can play in November at home. And I would sign for 4 points after the first 2 matches in the World Cup qualification. I think that would be a very good start. Let's win against Ivory Coast and get a point in Burundi. We can win both games. I would be happy also. But I think if we get 4 points after the first 2 games, we make a brilliant start.
Absolutely. I remember when we played Algeria in Banjul. I was there. It was a jam-packed stadium, and we were able to intimidate them just by seeing the amount of people at the stadium. And even though they scored first, we were able to equalize, and it was a decent scoreline for us. So I will agree on that with you 100%. Playing home, it's always very, very important, and I hope our authorities will do the needful to make sure we have most of our games back home. Because if you look at Senegal against Egypt in the World Cup qualifiers, if that game was in Cairo, Senegal won't qualify. But they played in Dakar. Fully. It was they do all what it takes to win that game. So playing at home is something very important, and our authorities to do the right thing so that we can play at home. So, Coach, once again,
that's the national responsibility. We will have
absolutely
government responsible to make sure that our stadium is ready. We know, our fans miss their national team. There is a bond between the Gambian national team and the fans. And that bond has not been there for a minute. I remember being at the commentary box when we played against Algeria. the Marhes, and all the top players, Boneja, they were all in Banjul. But when they turn around and look at the Gambian fans, they get scared because they know we're not going to let them have it easy. And
Yeah.
the boys want, with due respect, they also want to play home, knowing fact that we playing with our red, white, blue, white, green color. We playing in our stadium. They needed the support. They needed to know how the fans feel. It comes with a lot of negative things as well. There's a lot of pressure that but they need to handle those kind of pressures. But the government and the government needs to make the stadium ready. They need to make the stadium ready, to make sure that we play our home games. I am not saying, I know it's always difficult to play home. It's always very difficult to play in Banjul because you are under constant pressure. But that comes with the game. That's why they're professionals. That's why they're paid with the big boxes. So
I can tell you one thing.
The good thing is we have to play home. We like it or not, we need to start playing our home games at home. And the GFF has nothing to do with this. This is strictly the central government, the Minister of Youth and Sport. We need to get our stadium ready to make sure we play our home games at home.
And so now I can tell you, playing at home is important because I've been looking towards Gambia for the longest time. We have neutralized top African players that came to Gambia. You remember when George Weah came to Gambia with Liberia with James Deba? He was the world best player at the time. Yeah. He came to Gambia. They lost to Gambia 2-1 when it was last scored that wonderful free kick. Mustafa Haji came to Gambia. It was tough. Even the Charles Okonos, played at home is important. Mahrez came to Gambia. He was nowhere to be seen. Ibu Adams was on him. He put so much pressure. I was watching the game just around the bench. I was down. I was very close to the pitch. So, and one of the most important thing is the mindset of the Gambian fans have changed along the way. Yeah. There was a time when the Gambia is playing against these top countries. If the team is playing bad, the fans will turn against the team and support the opponent. I've seen that in the Gambia. But currently, the people are so close to the team that they will support the team even when we are losing. So, meaning playing at home is utmost important, and government should do the needful, and we will advocate. We will talk about it. It's our duty to put pressure on the authorities to do the right thing because we want to play at home. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, thank you very much, Tom. This is a clear opportunity. Somebody keep writing me about Mehdi Kamara. And I think I'll be fair to the fans. I know we can't read everything, but these are questions that keep coming in. And is there any plans for you to renegotiate for Mehdi to come and play for the Gambia again?
Let me say that since 4 years, I'm chatting every few weeks. I send him messages. Mehdi at the moment doesn't show any interest to play for us. His father and his uncle really want him to play for us. Give other examples. Alexander Ba, I spoke with him. He that time chose to play for Denmark. But his father, I'm still in touch with him. I got even a message from him to support us. Players like Bakary Jatta, I'm talking very frequently. Joseph Cisse, the brother of Jasper Cisse. So we are Amin Sarr. I'm talking to him, the brother of Lamine Sarr, now striker from Wolfsburg, just transferred from Olympique Lyon. We are always working on it, but I can't force players. Players have to feel the heart for this beautiful country that the Gambia is. You must love. Look how I'm wrong. Look how beautiful this shirt is. This is one of the most beautiful shirts in Africa and in the world. These beautiful colors. You must be proud to represent your country. It's the biggest honor to play for your national team. And these guys maybe hope to play for France or for Sweden or another country. But forget that. Play for the Gambia. Gambia can reach far. And if these guys who decide to play for us, I can tell you we go for sure to the World Cup. But it's up to them, and I will keep on trying. I will keep on talking to them. but they have to come with the heart for the country. In the past, we saw some players coming 1-2 games, but then complaining when they were sitting on the bench or complaining about long travel distances. What's normal in Africa? I mean, Africa is not Europe. It's much bigger in size. There's less connections in flights. So you must be really African in your heart to come and fight for your country. And I hope some of these guys will join our successful team to make it even more successful.
Yeah,
Thank you
Coach,
very much.
I have to agree with Coach 100%. You have to love it to come. For me, as of now, Coach can talk to them, but they have to be willing. Africa is not Europe. You have to get the heart to come. If you don't want to come, I think that we are lucky to have a bunch of players. And a guy texted me and asked me about what's your take about Sekou today in Grenoble. He's having a great time. So for me, Mehdi Kamara, for me, look, we have players, but you have to love what you're doing. If you don't want to come, Salafun. So I think there'll come a time most of them will want to come, because for Mehdi, playing for France is something of the past. It's not going to happen. Let's be honest. It's not going to happen. So Gambia could have given him a platform to even excel and even climb the ladder. But it's his choice. I don't blame him. You know, people have their own personal choice, how they want to go about with their life. But for me, you have to love it. If not, you can just stay home, and then we have players who can deputize and give us what we wanted. You know. So, Coach, it was
guys,
nice to have you here. So,
guys, thank you very much. My apologies. I know you want to ask a lot of questions. You want me to ask Coach a lot of questions. But I've already taken 30 minutes of his time, because we agreed to have 45 to 1 hour, and it's already 1 hour 30 minutes. And I have to do justice to him as well. He's also late in Belgium. Probably he needs the daughter needs him right now. He needs to take her to sleep. So I need to give him that time. Coach, it's been a pleasure, and thank you very much once again for honoring this invitation to share your thoughts with. We are not journalists. We are just Gambian fans concerned. We have our say in Gambian football, and we will share our thoughts in Gambian football. And also, people on this platform are fans. They ask genuine questions. Whether it's good or bad, it's genuine. So we will always try to make sure that we have that relationship to share thoughts of our fans, their concerns, their constraints, things they think, so we can share it as well. And thanks everybody for being very disciplined, for being very nice, sharing your thoughts as well. And like I said,
I want to ask Coach one question.
Yeah.
Do we have the same 28 players going, or is it 25 to AFCON?
I even think it's only 23.
Ooh, that will be tough.
Yeah. That will be very tough. So I don't know. I probably will know 12 October more. But in previous tournaments before COVID, it was only 23. So it will be a very tough selection. Also knowing that you need a balanced team. You don't know for injuries, red cards. So you need for every position alternative. So, by the way, let me one thing say. It was a pleasure to be on your show, Coach Sana and Musa. I love it. And for me, I have no problem that people have different opinions and the passion of football. That's the beauty of football. Everyone has an opinion about football. If I was a cricket coach or a volleyball coach, no one would tell me what to do. In football, the most beautiful sport in the world, everyone has an opinion, and I accept that. And together we try to achieve something better. And thank you very much for having me on your show. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night too. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Oh my God, it was a good